You're listening to the IDEAfit Pro Show, the podcast that empowers fitness professionals to reach their highest potential personally and professionally. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting your fitness journey, you're in the right place. Each week, we bring you expert interviews, industry trends, and practical strategies to elevate your fitness career and enhance your impact on clients' lives. I'm your host, Amy Boone-Thompson. I'm the proud owner and CEO of IDEA and a certified fitness professional for over 30 years. Hello and welcome back to the IDEAfit Pro Show. I'm Amy Thompson, and today's episode is one that every fitness and wellness professional needs to hear. We are joined by Jessica Maurer, a nationally recognized wellness business consultant, strategist, keynote speaker, and a true advocate for mental well-being in our industry. Jessica has spent more than 20 years helping professionals move from burnout and overwhelm to clarity, resilience, and sustainable success. She has presented on big stages, authored widely published content, including on ideafit.com, and she continues to shape how fitness and wellness professionals approach not just physical performance, but mental wellness as well. She is also a 2025 IDEA Fitness Leader of the Year finalist and now serves as Director of Education for the Mental Wellbeing Association. Today, we are diving into Jessica's IDEA story, her sessions at the 2026 NIRSA and IDEA World event, and one of the most powerful distinctions in our profession right now, the difference between burnout and boredom. Jessica, welcome to the IDEAfit Pro Show.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Amy. I'm so excited to be here and to be with you.
I'm excited as well. And I can't believe that we haven't done this yet. As I think about the several seasons, like you and I have not had this conversation. And I'm so excited for the audience to learn more about you and your pathway in this industry, which is very unique and inspiring. And so I'm just excited, and I want to thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to share some tips, some trips, and some nuggets of information that I've learned along the way.
Amazing. Well, let's start with, how did you first hear about IDEA? What is your IDEA story? What has IDEA meant to you in your professional journey? And how did you hear about it first?
I love this question so much because it takes us back in time. Back in 2003, I got my very first certification and kind of got bit by the bug of live education. I was at a college university where my recreation director recommended that I attend SCW Mania in Atlanta. And that was it. I was hooked. I thought live education was even better than possibly teaching in the group fitness studio, which at the time I thought was the best thing ever. And so as I began my journey in the fitness industry, learning more and more about live education, IDEA, of course, kept coming up, especially the IDEA World Conference. So about 5 years into my career, about 15 years ago, I made my way out to California for my first IDEA World. At the time, I was actually living in Tennessee, so I really did make quite the trek over there. And it was love at first sight. Everything about the event and what IDEA stood for was exactly what I wanted to see more of in the world. This idea of coming together and being collaborative and having people in the room that felt the same way about movement that I felt was so empowering and so welcoming. And I don't think I've missed very many IDEA Worlds since. There was one year where, I had a newborn, where I decided that maybe staying with the newborn was the best idea. Otherwise, I've been at IDEA World as a booth babe, as a presenter, as an attendee, as someone who's worked behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. I've kind of been able to do a lot at IDEA World, and it's all because of my love for live education, for collaboration, and for everything that IDEA World has stood for.
What a great story. And I was telling our producers before we started to hit record that I do think you've been to nearly every event. So that answers the question, all but when you were probably nursing her with a newborn. Amazing. I'm so glad to hear that story. And that, I think also the fact that you've come to the event with so many different hats or in so many different roles The same was true in my career. If I wasn't presenting, I was a director. If I wasn't a director, I was working in the Expo. But you meet so many incredible people and you learn so much from every experience. So amazing.
It absolutely feels like a high school reunion or a family reunion every time you go, right? There's people that you've seen that you're like, I don't remember your name, but I remember you. And then eventually you become best friends because you keep seeing each other over and over each year. It really is one of those events where you feel like you're coming home.
How do you think your IDEA community has influenced your career and your evolution as both a speaker, an educator, and also all the other roles you've held? How has this community that you met really influenced your career?
It allowed for me to see that there was power in numbers, that it wasn't necessarily about chasing one aspect of the industry or making sure I stayed in one zone or one role. It allowed for me to see that there was so much that made the fitness industry work, and it all needed to work together if we were really going to propel ourselves forward. I stopped seeing myself as fitting in a silo of I was just a personal trainer, I was just a group fitness instructor, and instead allowed for me to see that you could really play a lot of different roles on a lot of different teams, and you could lean into things that really brought you joy, and therefore you would allow other people to do what they really thrived in or what they really found their joy in. So it did allow for me to see that you didn't have to just be anything. You could be a lot of things and build a career that really made you feel successful and made you thrive in your personal and your professional life.
Absolutely spot on. And I'm excited to share more about your career because it hasn't been a traditional straight line for you, if there is one in the industry. I don't think there is one, but most people say, you do this and then you become a manager and then you become a director and then you do this. And that has not been your path. So I want to learn more about your current role. But first, maybe tell us a little more about some of your past experiences, including, fun fact for our listeners, that you and I both worked for Fit for Mom, but at different times and in different roles. So for sure, tell us about that and your illustrious path to get to where you are today.
When I went to first live education event, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be up on the stage. And in fact, at this live event, I met Trisha Murphy Madden and I stalked her for a little while. To which we can jokingly say that now, but I was one of those people who, wherever she was, I was right behind her because I want to do what you're doing. She was kind enough to introduce me to so many other people in the industry who were really leading the live education aspect at the time. I happened to be a little bit younger at that time. I was a college student. Therefore, I was on the cutting edge of website design, marketing, and that thing called social media. I mean, I was one of the first universities that was able to adopt the Facebook back in the day. And so, in meeting all of these live educators, they all kept saying, oh, we're hearing about this marketing thing we should all be doing, but none of us know how to do it. And so I stepped into the role of being a ghostwriter, of being behind the scenes and helping these people build websites and write blogs and become a presence online through the social media aspect of things. In doing so, I quickly learned that the only way I was going to grow my business was if I had systems and strategies in place so I didn't get overwhelmed with all the pings and the dings and who am I supposed to be and how many accounts do I need to log into and where are all the passwords. And so I kind of grew into someone who could take your online business and make it make sense, organize it, if you will, make sure that we had the right drawers for all of the right aspects of your business. And that allowed for me to really step into more roles, as we mentioned before, of diversifying, not just be the social media girl, not just be the live master trainer who can be the dancing monkey on stage, but someone who could also create the education, take the idea from a class all the way into an 8-hour training. I was allowed to kind of grow and move in this space where not only was I ghostwriting Facebook posts, but I was also ghostwriting manuals and I was creating these trainings that I was such a big fan of. That allowed for me to have a much bigger impact. And I think when I first realized that if I created the content, it would have such a bigger ripple was the time that I really was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to not just drop a pebble and see the ripple. I want to drop a boulder and see the massive waves. And that led me to work with some incredible people like Shannon Fable, who really allowed for me to see all different sides of the fitness industry and how we could work B2B, business business, or business to consumer. I was able to work with companies like Liebert Fitness out of Canada, like Bosu. And then that led me to meet the amazing Lisa Druxman, as you mentioned, over at Fit for Mom. And moving into Fit for Mom, I could take my love of women, my love of fitness, and my love of organization and kind of build out a platform where I could train anyone to be an amazing group fitness coach. And that would allow me to really drop the boulder that I was looking for and make that large ripple effect in consumer lives as well as fitness professional lives. I did grow Fit for Mom in my own way of being able to take a lot of the content that we had been doing live and put it online, because that allowed for us to have even a bigger, more expansive reach, especially when the pandemic hit and we were limited to what we could do live and in person. From there, I really dove into maternal mental health and started to find more and more interest in helping people feel better in their skin. And that is where I ultimately found out about the dual continuum of mental health and mental wellness, which allowed for me to start interacting with Victor and Lynn Brick of the John W. Brick Mental Health Foundation. And we moved into creating the Mental Wellbeing Association, where I was lucky enough to be the project manager and the director of education on the 20-hour certification that teaches fitness professionals exactly the influence that they can have on their own mental well-being as well as their clients' mental well-being. So I love it because I've gone from being the person who was kind of behind the scenes writing Facebook posts to being the person who's behind the scenes talking about happiness and joy and longevity and sustainability within our industry as a whole.
What an incredible path that you've had. And I would offer two things. One is, I think you came out from behind the scenes with a lot of these companies. And so I think you got to blend your love of being on that stage still, because I know your work at Fit for Mom was so impactful, and you were their director of education, I believe was your title for some period of time. Also, just again, success leaves clues. And I love how you, as you said, stalked these people who you knew were doing the things you wanted to be doing. So every woman that you mentioned who's been instrumental in your career has also been instrumental in IDEA's platform and growing. So from Lynn Brick, Lisa Druxman, Trisha Murphy-Madden, also Shannon Fable, all of the names that you mentioned, those are all IDEA authors and presenters and award recipients. And so good on you to chase the people who were doing it well and already in the space you wanted to be in.
My husband says I have good taste.
Yes.
So.
Agreed. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about your work at Mental Wellbeing Association, because I think, we at IDEA have been close to this work as well. We're big advocates as well on the work that's being done. But you talked, I think, high level about some of the different research that might be happening for fitness professionals who really are interested in doing a deep dive on mental well-being for themselves and their clients. Talk a little bit more about the resources that this association provides to them.
So we have our front-facing blog, which really shares some baseline information for you as a fitness professional, as well as what you could share with your clients based around our 4 pillars. Our 4 pillars are movement, nutrition, mindfulness, and social connection, because those are the 4 pillars that really have the most science-backed information to move the radar for mental well-being, to take you from feeling like you're languishing to moving into a state of flourishing. So we really kind of hone in and focus on those 4. Additionally, because of our front-facing material, I've been able to be published at IDEA with our articles and mini courses that help people further understand where we really are moving that trajectory from fitness professionals supporting mental well-being. Now, behind the scenes within the association itself, we put out continuing education material every month with mini courses and with articles that further support those 4 pillars, but also dive into some of the other aspects of mental well-being that perhaps aren't really touched upon within the certification or within our public facing content. And these are things that are all backed by science-based research. That was something we were a huge advocate for, is to make sure that all of this is evidence-based and that we're not just saying, well, I kind of heard on TikTok, but instead I really dive deeper into what's being published around the world so that we can really come forward to fitness professionals and talk about what is the science saying, as well as how do you apply it. I think that's the biggest part of my job is, okay, this is great to know in theory, but well, as a fitness professional, how do you use this content? It's cool that you know it, but how do you bring up the benefits of kimchi while you're teaching a cycle class? And so what I do is take this conversation and translate it so that it makes sense from whatever position you have within the fitness industry, whether you're group fitness or you're small group trainer or you're a personal trainer one-on-one. I think that my content does a really good job of helping you translate it so that you're able to use it immediately next day in your training or in your session.
It's phenomenal, and the timing is also incredible. That the Bricks had the insight and the foresight, I should say, to make this knowledge and this certification available to our industry. They saw the importance. It's there now. It's all accessible. You talked about ways that our audience can go right now and start getting information to help them in their business with their clients. But I had the opportunity to represent World Active at the United Nations General Assembly last year. And I can tell you that mental health is absolutely, there are conversations taking place in every single meeting that deals with public health and deals with really our society as a whole. So we talk about obesity, but we are having conversations about mental health, and particularly the mental health of our youth. So I'm so excited that this is now available and specific to our fitness professionals, which is exactly what this association is doing.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's immediately usable, practical tools. Because again, like, it's great theoretical information for you to know, but if you're unsure of how to apply it in the setting of a personal trainer without stepping over scope of practice, without ensuring that you're maybe opening up too much, that's something we talk about a lot in our resources. Is how do you ensure that you're holding space but not the stress? How do you ensure that you're not becoming the therapist, that you're staying within your lane while still really advocating for these mental wellness protocols? I mean, let's face it, we as fitness professionals, we see our clients more than they see their primary care doctors. We're going to see the changes first. We're going to notice the mood swings first. We're going to notice if they're starting to diminish in productivity or performance. And we're front line for that. We can be the first person who says, hey, happen to notice what's going on. Are you feeling okay?
Yes, and hopefully we've earned the trust with those clients that they would that we could be part of that conversation with them. So amazing work. Again, we'll put these resources in our show notes, and Jess has a lot of articles on IDEAfit.com, more recently writing for Idea Fitness Journal on this subject matter. So please, please, please do a deep dive on all things related to the Mental Health Association, Mental Wellbeing Association, my apologies. And okay, so let's transition now. Not a total transition, because you are going to be bringing some of this content to our event this year. And so everybody now knows we are combining with the NIRSA audience, which is intramural rec and sports. And we are going to be on the east side of the country in National Harbor, which is just outside of DC. Jess Maurer is going to be there. We're so excited for this collaboration. And I'm curious first, before you tell us what you're going to be presenting, since you come from college rec, I'd love to know what you think about this collaboration and what you're most excited about. And then hopefully you can tell us what you're going to be teaching.
Oh, I'm so excited for this collaboration because I think it is tying together two really important associations that typically don't play in the same sandbox. We're starting to see this collaboration between these two organizations that have really represented almost two different sides of the fitness industry. And I love being able to come together. As I mentioned before, that's really what Ideal World stood for me, was collaboration. And I think this is the perfect setting for that. Also, as someone who came from campus rec, I would have loved this in 2004 and 2005 when I was at campus rec, in the management there. I think this is going to be a great way to introduce that younger generation to, hey, this is a sustainable career. You don't have to just say, I'm only doing this to get through college. We can actually show you the way forward, how you can build a career helping people find the movement style that fits them the best, that they love the most. So here are all the ways we can do it. And I'm very excited for the event. I'm going to be presenting 3 times. One of the courses that I'm going to be teaching is called Coach Her to Confidence, which is exactly what it sounds like. How do we help women, our women clients, move from feeling maybe insecure about stepping into the gym facility or insecure about how they currently feel in their own body? How do we move her to a more confident area? We will, of course, be focusing on mental wellness strategies. But we're also going to be focusing on the differences that women need based on their time in life. So from prenatal all the way to postmenopausal, what do women need? What do we need to be able to support them with as a fitness coach, as you mentioned before, a trusted fitness coach, in order to help those women feel the best in their skin and obviously coach her to confidence. The next one I'm going to do is called Future Proof Your Career. As we've mentioned on this podcast, I've worn a lot of different hats in the fitness industry. I have enjoyed a career of sustainability and of longevity, and I want to share what I've done with other people. And I don't want to just share my own stories, but I want to share the stories of other people who have gone through the fitness industry wearing a lot of different hats and are still here thriving and feeling very good about their careers. So this one, we're going to talk about how to make sure that you're putting systems and processes in place so that you don't burn out, you don't get bored, you don't decide that you want to have a career switch in your 40s. We want to make sure that we're building a industry that is thriving for decades to come. And that starts with each individual Fit Pro knowing where they want to be in the future. Now, the last one I'm going to be sharing is 5 hidden retention gems. We all are a little burnout on social media. And right now, because of AI slop being everywhere and the rise of the influencer, as well as the fall of the influencer, people are burnt out on social media. They don't know what to trust. They're not sure if they should buy something because they've been burned so many times. And so this workshop is really going to be about how do you go back to marketing strategies that are tried and true, that work for retention as well as lead generation, that don't revolve around your phone. How can we put the phones down and start actually integrating ourselves back into the community? We're going to be talking about ways that you can do so in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming, that is a bit more organized and strategic, and that fits into your calendar in a way that makes sense for your life professionally as well as personally. So it's a little bit about moving away from what started my career in social media and more into how do you integrate yourself to be the person in your industry, or in your geographical community that everyone knows does this in the fitness space. So I'm super excited about those 3 different presentations.
I mean, these 3, I want to go to all 3. Hopefully I can make it to all these sessions. That's the biggest challenge, is like getting to everything you want to get to. But when people register early, they can pick their sessions. You can make sure there's a spot in Jess Maurer's room for you on all of these different topics. I know that a lot of your work, and I would imagine this is because now at this stage in your career and your work with the Wellbeing Association and your own career path, that you are teaching other Fit Pros about this concept of burnout versus boredom. And I've heard it said, actually probably from you, that burnout asks for restoration, where boredom asks for expansion. Mm-hmm. And so maybe if you could just kind of go through the differences between burnout and boredom, the similarities maybe, and let's give our Fit Pros something they can go away with today to maybe do some self-reflection and see where they might be experiencing burnout or boredom in their own careers.
I would love to share this content because I think this is something very near and dear to my heart. We've heard people over the last 5 years use the term burnout a lot, right? Our colleagues have said it, our clients have said it, our friends and family have said it, and maybe we've said it as well. And we've said, oh, I'm so burnout. And this is where we start to say, okay, what do I need to do? I need to rest. I need to take time off. I need to step away from what's making me feel burnt out. And I felt this way a couple of years ago. And I did all of the things the internet told me to do, and I felt worse. I felt listless and restless, and like my brain was itchy, and I couldn't figure out why, if I was doing all the solutions that people told me to do to be able to get rid of my burnout, then why was I feeling worse? And ultimately, it came to the realization I wasn't burnout. I actually was bored. And that led me down this path of really looking at the differences between burnout and boredom, and then talking to people in the industry to figure out, were we all really suffering from burnout? Were we having too much? Was everything feeling like the coffee cup was overflowing? Did it feel like we were constantly having 100 tabs open and all of them were playing music? Sure, some of us definitely felt that. And we felt that for a long period of time. But on the other side, there were many fitness professionals who were just like, if I have to teach somebody how to squat perfectly one more time, I'm going to pull my eyelashes out. And that's not burnout, that's boredom. And we're really important to know the differences between the two, because the solutions are polar opposites. So while burnout makes you feel like you're overwhelmed and there's way too much coffee in your cup, boredom makes you feel listless and restless, and you just kind of feel ugh on the inside. On the outside, everyone sees the same thing: low energy, low motivation, low joy. And so from the outside, people don't necessarily understand which version you're going through. And internally, it's hard for us to understand as well, because we rarely step back and try to assess the situation. We just say, I've lost my joy, I feel stuck, I feel different. And we therefore just associate it with burnout. So I started noticing, as I was working with clients and working with businesses, okay, let's actually get to the root of this. Are your team members all burnt out, or are they really bored? And most of the time when working in the fitness and wellness space, it's boredom. It's not burnout. It's, I'm having to teach the same cycle class on a bike that goes nowhere. And I wonder after 15 years why I'm tired of it. And so I started to do a lot of research on how can we overcome that feeling of ugh as fitness professionals. And really, the number one thing is, it's about education. It's about learning something new and applying it into your classes, into your sessions, in with your clients, which is, of course, where resource libraries like Idea lives, or going to live events like the Idea World and NIRSA event is going to be, because those little sparks are ways that you get out of that my brain feels itchy state and into a state where, like, oh, I've got all these new tools in my toolbox, I want to go use them all. It's the same as like when you go shopping and you come home with all of these new clothes or books or crafts, you immediately want to open them out of the package and use them, right? It's the same when we learn new tools to be able to use in our classes with our clients. And it can be something as simple as a new playlist, a new piece of equipment, a new cue, a new way of looking at the body, anything to spark that joy in you again. And if you're unable to get to a live event, or you're never not able to read resources online, but if something happens where you're not able to, then I do the reverse as well with some of my clientele and say, okay, instead of incorporating something new, let's get rid of something old. So if you're constantly saying feet hips distance apart, weight in your heels, now bend your knees, great. You cannot say that for a week. If that comes out of your mouth, your week starts over. We have to figure out a new way to coach a squat. We have to figure out a new way to say, that was a great job. Okay, if that's your go-to cue, can't use it for a week. What else do you got? And so if we can kind of look at it in both ways of, can I add something new, or can I take something old away, enough to kind of re-spark that, that joy again, so we don't feel as listless, as restless, as bored. Because when a fitness professional gets bored, that is when the exercises get unruly. That is when we go in and we're like, you know what? I know I teach step, but today we're going to do cartwheels and handstands, and we might even like build a pyramid at the end. That is when you can tell a fitness professional is bored, because they can't find their way back to what really matters. Instead, they're finding their way to thinking that fireworks and sparkles are what keep people in class. What keeps people in class is feeling successful. And you can't feel successful if you're being told you got to do cartwheels at 55, unless you already know them.
That's true.
On the other side of things, when dealing with people who are burnt out, yes, rest is the number one thing, but the number two is support. And so coming together in a collaborative manner where you're with other personal trainers, you're with other group fitness instructors, you're with other people who also say, if I have to teach someone how to do a plank one more time, I'm gonna pull my eyelashes out. When you get support like that and you realize you're not alone, you can combat burnout so much faster because you feel more supported. You feel less isolated. You realize that you're not an island. You don't have to do this by yourself, that you have others around you. Because let's face it, in our industry, we work a lot in isolation. And so when you start to bring in collaboration, when you start to expand your friendships, when you start playing in the sandbox with all of the wellness professionals in your area, your burnout starts to dissipate and you start to feel that joy again.
Mm. So many powerful takeaways, Jess. And for all of you listening, I know you're probably reflecting on your own careers and feeling maybe resonating with some of what Jessica shared. So, step one, get yourself out of your norm, right? And get interested and curious about learning in person, making new friends and relationships, whether that's at an event like NIRSA and Idea World or whether that is in your own community. But I think really the overarching message is to try to gain some clarity and have that time to do some introspection. And your course is designed to help people with that, really to investigate. Maybe it has nothing to do with your career, but it's your relationships or it's your living situation, or it could be something totally different that's like seeping into your work. But I think that having that time to step away and work on yourself and have that introspection is really, really going to help you give clarity.
Absolutely. I mean, we see this show up often in career space, but usually it's because it stems from something else, right? And so we want to make sure that when we're really looking at the difference between are you burnout or are you bored, so we can find you a solution moving forward, we assess everything. You are not a different person when you put a microphone on. You are still the same human. You just happen to have a microphone on. So all the baggage that you had prior to going into class is still with you. It may be hidden in the back room with all the rest of the tech equipment, but it's still there. It's still your baggage. And so if you are dealing with something in your personal life, it's going to affect your career. I tell this to the management teams that I work with often is your crew, your team, they're still humans, right? When they walk in the door, you can't just expect them to drop all of their stresses and leave it in the car, even though that's what we tell people to. They're going to bring it with them. And so how can we be more supportive of them in a human nature instead of just expecting them to be productive? Because ultimately, when we see something like burnout, we try to solve it as if it's a productivity problem, and it's actually a human problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to help people start to find their joy instead of just trying to help them find their next to-do list.
Mm. I'm reflecting on my years as being a personal training manager and working with personal trainers who experience this a lot. Again, the repetitiveness, the, maybe just losing interest in doing same and beyond counting reps and sets, even seeing the same thing again, or maybe just not showing up with that joy for your client. And then that becomes apparent in their business, and it does affect productivity because then they're not successful. Clients aren't renewing, clients aren't getting success. But that all starts with your mindset, and that all starts with you figuring out, or I guess coming to your sessions with that joy and that purpose.
It trickles down, right? Absolutely. If you are a strong leader, then you're looking at yourself as well to ensure that you're not showing any signs of boredom or of burnout. And if you are, taking care of yourself and then sharing with your team how you are doing that. Or can you bring your team in? Can you host live education at your facility? Can you find an article that you really wanted to share with everyone and send it to your team? How do you ensure that your team keeps growing and learning in a way that you keep learning and growing? And then you have that collaborative effort, that idea of we're all in this together. This is your community. This is your support system. Oh, and by the way, here's a team activity we're going to try for the next week. Here's a new artist I just found. Maybe you want to integrate it into your classes. Here's a new article I found. Love for you to read it and get back to us. Also, when we notice that we ourselves are dealing with burnout or boredom, or we notice it in our team, it all comes back to mental wellness of what can we start to do to help encourage them to support their own mental well-being as they move forward in their days and their weeks and their careers.
Oh, so good. Okay, speaking of leadership, I'm just curious from your viewpoint and at this stage in your career, and with, again, all the work that you've been doing and are doing in the future, what gives you hope for our profession? And what do you look forward to? How can our fitness professionals keep being inspired and inspiring others? What do you look forward to and what gives you hope?
I think our role as people who provide happiness is the thing that makes me most excited. And it comes from two different things that are really changing society: GLP-1s and AI. So no longer is fitness or gym facilities or group fitness places where you go to lose weight. That is no longer the conversations, right? Now the conversation is the gym, the personal trainer, the group fitness studio is where you go to see your friends. It should feel like Cheers, right? The TV show where everybody knew your name. That's what gym facilities feel like. Everyone should know your name. We now, as fitness professionals, we should be doling out daily doses of happiness, of joy, of laughter, of community and connection. We don't have to worry about promising that they're going to lose 8 pounds in 8 weeks, which was something that we could never have promised anyway, and we kept doing. So instead, what really lights me up and makes me so happy about the future of the industry is that we don't have to hide behind this facade anymore. We can really come out and be loud and proud about the fact that we are the place you go to get happy. We are the place where you're going to feel joy. We're the place that's going to support you through everything. We're not the place where you're going to find that you're going to lose or transform your body in a certain amount of time. We know that for the most part, that's really not what fitness does, because there's so many different aspects of a person's biology that has to come into play in order to make sure that physical transformation happens. I mean, all of you who are out there in the physical transformation world, you understand that macros have to be on point, and sleep, and let's not even talk about hormones and the trauma of what you've done to your body in the past or what you've done to your mind in the past, all come into play when it comes to physical transformation. So now we can really just come out and say, hey, you could get a workout on AI, but you can't get a friend on AI. Or, hey, you can lose weight on GLP-1, but they're not going to have a group of cheerleaders ready to cheer you on as you do the final sprint in your cycle class. So if we really want to move forward in the fitness industry, that is the message. We're the place you come to play. This is where all your adult friends are. This is where you're going to smile and laugh and have a good time. And you are going to walk out of here feeling 10 times better than when you walked in the door.
Mic drop. We're just going to take that, splice it, and share it to the world. Such great insight, Jessica. Okay, you've dropped a lot of nuggets today and lots of inspiration for our Fit Pros. And hey, y'all, you can get more of her at our event or in Idea Fitness Journal and on IDEAfit.com. But Jessica, is there anything else that we did not touch on that you want to leave the audience with, or any inspiring thoughts or mind shifts that you would leave with them?
I'm going to tie you and I back to Fit for Mom for a moment. So there was something I learned at Fit for Mom, that you needed to be the mayor of Momville in order to have a successful Fit for Mom business. And I challenge all of us in the fitness industry to be the mayor of fitness and wellness in your area. It really is about getting out there and shaking hands and kissing babies. You need to be out at every event. If there is a 5K, you should be leading it. If there is a job fair, you should be at it. If they are looking for someone to just hype up the crowd, that should be you. How can you, as a fitness professional, get out there and be the mayor of fitness and wellness in your own town? And thank you for Fit for Mom for inspiring me to really carry that message moving forward in everything that I do.
So good. And I learned that lesson at Fit for Mom as well, how to build a community and how to literally hug moms and kiss babies, but how to take that into every stage of your career. And I love be the mayor of health and wellness and happiness for your communities. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so appreciative of your time. We can't wait to see you in just about 7-8 weeks at our event. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Amy, and thanks everybody for listening. Hope to see you at the event or online.
Beautiful. And Jessica, thank you again for your leadership, your insights, and your commitment to helping fitness professionals, not just to succeed, but to sustain their success and to do it joyfully and with purpose. And if you are attending the 2026 NIRSA Plus Idea World event, be sure to add Jessica's sessions to your schedule. I can imagine they are going to fill up. This podcast is brought to you by IDEA Health and Fitness Association, where fitness is our business. Thank you for joining, and we will see you next time on IDEAfit Pro Show.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of the IDEAfit Pro Show. If you did, we'd love for you to follow, share, and give us a 5-star rating. Be sure to explore IDEAfit's vast library of past episodes featuring insights from top experts and thought leaders across a variety of topics. There truly is something for everyone. IDEAfit Pro Show is part of the IDEAfit Podcast Network. A huge thank you to our entire team at IDEA Health and Fitness Association. Copyright 2025, all rights reserved, reproduction without permission is prohibited.